The 9 Circles of Hell. The 9 Circles of Hell, as imagined by the Italian poet Dante Alighieri in his masterpiece, the Divine Comedy. This epic poem, written in the 14th century, is an allegorical exploration of the human condition, morality, and the quest for redemption. Join me as we descend through the infernal circles, exploring each one in its entirety to fully understand the sins and punishments that Dante encountered on his journey. First circle, Limbo. The journey begins in Limbo, the first circle of hell. This place is a tranquil region but filled with a subtle sadness, where reside the souls of those who, although virtuous in life, did not know the Christian faith or died without receiving baptism. Among them are illustrious men and women of antiquity, philosophers, poets, and heroes who lived before the coming of Christ or in places where his message had not been heard. Limbo is described as a place without physical torments but where a constant and never satisfied longing to know God reigns. The souls here are trapped in an eternal state of desire, aware of the divine existence but eternally separated from it. This punishment, though subtle, is profoundly painful in its spiritual nature. Dante is welcomed by a group of famous poets, Homer, Horace, Ovid, and Lucan, who invite him to join their company as one of the great poets. He also encounters figures like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Julius Caesar, and many others. The presence of these noble souls raises questions about divine justice and salvation since, despite their virtues, they are condemned for their lack of faith. Limbo represents the tension between mercy and justice in medieval theology. Dante uses this circle to reflect on the fate of those who, through no fault of their own, could not access divine truth. The atmosphere is melancholic yet dignified, serving as a reminder that, according to Dante's vision, salvation is inaccessible without God's grace. Second circle, Lust. As we delve deeper into hell, we arrive at the second circle, where the sin of lust is punished. Here, Dante and his guide Virgil encounter the infernal judge Minos, who decides the soul's destinies by wrapping his tail around himself a number of times, indicating the circle to which the soul will be sent. This circle is significantly smaller but more intense in suffering than the previous one. The souls of the lustful are ceaselessly hurled by a violent whirlwind of hurricane winds, which strikes them and causes them to collide with one another. This punishment reflects the inconstancy and tempestuous nature of their passions in life, where they were swept away by the winds of their desires without control or reason. Among the souls Dante finds here are famous characters known for their passionate and tragic loves. Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt known for her intense relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, Helen of Troy and Paris, whose love sparked the Trojan War, and Tristan, the knight who fatally loved Isolde. One of the most moving scenes is the encounter with Paolo and Francesca da Rimini, lovers who were killed by Francesca's husband, who was Paolo's brother. Francesca recounts their story of forbidden love and the reading that led them to succumb to their feelings, stirring in Dante a deep compassion to the point of fainting. This encounter illustrates the destructive power of passion and questions where the line is drawn between love and sin. The second circle leads us to reflect on the consequences of being carried away by passions without moderation. The punishment is appropriate, as the souls are driven by the winds just as they were by their desires, without the possibility of rest or control, symbolizing the loss of reason and self-mastery. Third circle, Gluttony. Descending to the third circle, Dante finds himself in a grim and repugnant place, where a cold and constant rain of hail and dirty water falls incessantly. This is the realm of the gluttons, those who in life indulged in excesses of food and drink, seeking the satisfaction of their appetites without considering moderation. The souls here lie on the muddy ground, wallowing in the mire under the eternal storm. They are watched over and tormented by Cerberus, the monstrous three-headed dog, who tears them apart with his claws and teeth. Cerberus, with his insatiable appetite and beastly nature, embodies the very sin of gluttony that consumes these souls. Dante meets Chaco, a citizen of Florence, who prophesies about the future political struggles of the city. Chaco expresses his desire to be remembered in the world of the living, highlighting the soul's yearning for a connection with the life they left behind. The punishment reflects the degrading and self-destructive nature of gluttony. The souls who delighted in sensory pleasures in life now suffer under a storm that represents the filth and excess of their acts. The environment is dark, cold, and unpleasant, symbolizing the emptiness and dissatisfaction that result from excessive indulgence. This circle invites us to reflect on the importance of moderation and how excess can lead to personal degradation. Dante shows how the insatiable pursuit of pleasure can result in a miserable existence, both in life and in death. Fourth circle: greed and prodigality. Continuing his descent, Dante reaches the fourth circle, where the sinners of greed and prodigality are found. Here, he observes a great multitude of souls pushing enormous weights, colliding with each other in an endless circular motion. The avaricious, who hoarded wealth without purpose, and the prodigals, who squandered it recklessly, are condemned to this unceasing effort. The souls shout, "Why do you hoard?" and "Why do you waste?" as they meet and part, reflecting the internal conflict and futility of their actions in life. This punishment symbolizes the destructive obsession with wealth and how both extremes, accumulation and waste, lead to moral ruin. Dante notes that many of the avaricious are clerics, including popes and cardinals, which is a direct criticism of corruption within the church. The presence of religious leaders in this circle highlights the hypocrisy and danger of placing the love of money above spiritual duties. The landscape is dark and chaotic, reflecting the confusion and disorder that excessive love of money can cause in people's lives. The souls are so consumed by their task that they cannot recognize or communicate with each other, symbolizing how obsession with wealth can isolate individuals and destroy human relationships. This circle serves as a warning about the dangers of allowing money and material possessions to dominate one's life. Dante emphasizes the need for balance and responsible use of resources, promoting generosity and prudence as essential virtues. Fifth circle: wrath and sloth. Upon reaching the fifth circle, Dante and Virgil find themselves in the murky waters of the river Styx, a dark and gloomy swamp. Here suffer the souls of the wrathful and the slothful. On the water's surface, the wrathful strike and fight each other, consumed by uncontrollable fury. Under the muddy waters, the slothful groan and produce bubbles as they speak, immersed in the apathy and sadness that dominated them in life. The atmosphere is oppressive and filled with violence. The wrathful, who in life expressed their anger destructively, are now condemned to an endless, purposeless struggle. Their fury is their torment, reflecting how anger can consume and destroy those who harbor it. The slothful, on the other hand, are submerged and barely visible, symbolizing how their inaction and melancholy led them to a meaningless existence. Their inability to express themselves fully reflects the emotional repression and disconnection from the world they experienced. Dante has a notable encounter with Filippo Argenti, a Florentine noble known for his temper and arrogance. Their interaction is tense, and Dante shows an unusual lack of compassion, wishing to see Filippo suffer more. This encounter personalizes the sin and shows how human conflicts can extend beyond death. The fifth circle explores the duality of negative emotions, both active and passive, and how they can lead to self-destruction and isolation. Dante highlights the importance of controlling emotions and acting with moderation to avoid falling into the extremes of anger and apathy. Sixth circle, heresy. Crossing the walls of the city of Dis, fortified and guarded by demons and furies, Dante and Virgil enter the sixth circle of hell, where the heretics reside. This is a somber and threatening place, full of burning tombs that illuminate the dark landscape. The souls of the heretics are confined in these open tombs engulfed in flames, symbolizing the fire of heresy they spread in life. The open graves indicate that their judgments are not final until the final judgment, at which point the tombs will close forever, sealing their eternal fate. Dante meets Farinata degli Uberti, a political leader from Florence who was accused of heresy. Their conversation is intense and revolves around politics and the struggles between the factions of Florence, the Guelphs and the Ghibellines. Farinata shows pride and defiance, even in his condemnation, reflecting the stubbornness of his convictions. Cavalcante de Cavalcanti also appears, concerned about the fate of his son, the poet Guido Cavalcanti. This encounter shows the pain of parents for their children and how earthly concerns persist even in the afterlife. The sixth circle raises questions about faith, reason, and the consequences of deviating from accepted doctrines. The fire that consumes the souls represents both the punishment and the light of the truth they rejected. Dante explores the nature of knowledge and the importance of faith in harmony with reason. This circle serves as a warning about the dangers of intellectual arrogance and rejecting fundamental truths. Dante emphasizes the need for humility and openness to divine wisdom to achieve salvation. Seventh circle, violence. The seventh circle of hell is a complex and structured place dedicated to sinners who committed acts of violence. It is divided into 3 sections, each corresponding to a specific type of violence: against others, against oneself, and against God, nature, and art. Outer ring. In the first section, the violent against others are submerged in the boiling river of blood called phlegathon. The graver their crime, the deeper the level at which they are submerged. Armed centaurs, led by Chiron and Nessus, patrol the banks, shooting arrows at those who try to rise above their assigned level. This punishment reflects the blood they shed and the suffering they caused others. Middle ring. In the second section, the violent against themselves, that is, suicides and those who squandered their own lives and possessions, are transformed into gnarled trees in a dark and desolate forest. Harpies, creatures half woman, half bird, tear at their leaves and branches, causing them pain. The suicides can only speak when wounded, symbolizing how in life they rejected their own voice and existence. The squanderers are chased and torn apart by black bitches, representing the destruction of their goods and lives. Inner ring. The third section houses the violent against God, nature, and art. Blasphemers lie face up on a plain of burning sand under an eternal rain of fire. Sodomites walk restlessly under the flames, and usurers sit on the burning sands with money bags hanging from their necks, bearing family emblems. This sterile and scorching environment reflects the spiritual infertility and perversion of divine gifts. Dante has a significant encounter with Brunetto Latini, his former teacher, who is among the Sodomites. Their conversation is respectful and affectionate, humanizing the condemned souls and showing the complexity of judging others' sins. The seventh circle explores the various manifestations of violence and how each affects the natural and divine order. Dante uses this circle to highlight the importance of respect for life, one's own and that of others, and for the natural and divine laws that govern the universe. Eighth circle, fraud. The eighth circle, known as Malabulge, evil ditches, is a vast amphitheater-shaped region divided into 10 concentric trenches, each assigned to a specific type of fraud. This is a place of great complexity, where sinners are punished according to the deceitful nature of their crimes. In the first trench, seducers and pimps march in opposing lines, being ceaselessly whipped by demons. Their constant movement and the pain they suffer reflect how they manipulated and exploited others for their own benefit. The second trench houses flatterers, submerged in a pit of human excrement, representing the dirty and degrading nature of their false praises. In the third trench, simoniacs, those who sold ecclesiastical positions, are buried head down in holes in the rock, with flames burning their feet. This punishment inverts their spiritual order, symbolizing how they perverted sacred values. The fourth trench contains diviners and magicians, who walk with their heads turned backward, forced to look behind forever. This punishment reflects the distortion of reality they caused by attempting to foresee the future, something reserved for God. In the fifth trench, corrupt officials and embezzlers are submerged in boiling pitch, watched over by demons called Malbranche. The demons keep them submerged with hooks, representing the darkness and hidden nature of their crimes. The sixth trench is home to hypocrites, who wear heavy lead cloaks covered with gold. The contrast between the external appearance and the internal weight symbolizes the falseness of their apparent virtue and the burden of their deceit. In the seventh trench, thieves are chased and bitten by snakes and lizards, suffering painful transformations and losing their human form. This cycle of metamorphosis reflects the stealthy and changing nature of their crimes. The eighth trench houses fraudulent counselors, enveloped in individual flames that conceal their identity. Dante converses with Ulysses and Diomedes, who suffer together in a double flame for their role in the fall of Troy. In the ninth trench, sowers of discord are continually mutilated by a demon with a sword. Their bodies heal only to be wounded again, reflecting the divisions they caused in life. Finally, the 10th trench is for falsifiers, who suffer terrible diseases and madness. Their decrepit appearance and ailments represent the corruption they spread. The 8th circle is a profound reflection on the multiple ways fraud can manifest and how it corrupts the moral fabric of society. Dante shows how deceit destroys trust and integrity, and how those who practice it are condemned to suffer punishments that reflect the deceptive and destructive nature of their actions. 9th circle, treachery. We arrive at the 9th and final circle of hell, the deepest and most somber, where the sin of treason is punished. This circle is a frozen lake called Cocytus, formed by the frozen tears of Lucifer and the condemned souls. The extreme cold symbolizes the total absence of love and human warmth, reflecting the cold and calculating nature of treason. The circle is divided into 4 zones, each assigned to a specific type of treason. In the first zone, Cana, are the traitors to their family members. The souls are frozen up to their necks, with their heads bowed, allowing them to protect themselves partially from the cold. The second zone, Antenora, houses traitors to their homeland or political party. The souls are frozen up to their necks but cannot move their heads, symbolizing the rigidity and obstinacy of their betrayal. In the third zone, Ptolemea, reside traitors to their guests. The souls lie face up in the ice, with only their faces exposed. Their tears freeze in their eyes, preventing them from crying and aggravating their suffering. The fourth and final zone is Judaica, named in honor of Judas Iscariot, the ultimate traitor. Here are the traitors to their lords and benefactors. The souls are completely encapsulated in the ice, in contorted and painful positions, without the possibility of movement or communication. At the very center of hell is Lucifer, also known as Satan. He is a gigantic figure with 3 faces of different colors: red, black, and pale yellow. Each mouth eternally chews one of the 3 greatest traitors according to Dante: Judas Iscariot in the central mouth, and Brutus and Cassius in the side mouths, who betrayed and assassinated Julius Caesar. Lucifer is trapped in the ice up to his waist, beating his 6 bat-like wings, whose movement generates the icy winds that keep Lake Cocytus frozen. His position reflects how his rebellion against God has led him to be the deepest prisoner of hell, unable to free himself. This final circle is a powerful representation of the desolation and self-destruction that result from treason. The cold and immobility symbolize the absence of love and the breaking of the most sacred bonds. Dante shows that treason is the gravest sin, as it undermines the trust and integrity that sustain society and human relationships. Thank you for watching our video. Subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Give it a like, comment your thoughts, and share this video with your friends and family.